Welcome everyone to a very special edition on a very special night, Monday night here on Conversations of Void. I am producer Liz tonight. Hopefully Salem feels better relatively soon. But without further ado, I'd like to welcome back a guest we had from about 75 episodes now from Night of the Chihuahuas, Killer Hair, Porkchop Express, promoting his new book, The Family Man. Please welcome back to the Void, the one and only Nate Price. How are you doing tonight?
Do what is that, Nixon?
Nixon. You're not a crook. That's good.
No, I'm not that I know of yet. What's going on, man?
Just like I said, this is a special episode. Like I said, we do these one-offs just for people like yourself here to promote your Kickstarter and everything else. And just kind of want to get people a chance to catch up here if they're watching live now or in the future, kind of what you've been up to since we last talked about. I think it was about a year and a half ago.
Oh, so I don't remember quite where we were at a year and a half ago, but we've been making comics for since 3 years in November, so 3.5 years now, and we finished Night of the Chihuahuas issues 1 through 5, the first series. We have continued on with Night of the Chihuahuas 2, which is Chihuahuas from Hell. And that's almost complete. Issue 1's almost done, literally on the last page. Our artist Jeff Monk is finishing that up, and we are hoping to have a Kickstarter for that. We've played with Killer Hair, which we talked about. It's kind of like Venom meets Rapunzel. And then The Family Man is a new book. By artist Max Flowers, and I wrote it, and it is a silent horror. It's a 48-page graphic novella, but it's a silent horror, so there's only words on the last 3 pages. And we have some other projects going on, but we're trying to establish ourselves as a small indie publishing house and running into all the challenges that come with it, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you said you're about 3.5 years into the business, and it's as we know, even with this show, everything's kind of a growing pain, right? You have to put a lot of time and effort into just to get the ball rolling. And I know you guys were in about 8 states last time. You still about that many states right now?
Sounds about right. It might be more. We made it into over 50 stores, and I got really burnt out. And I've and it's money's important, and I should be focusing on that. I also felt like I was selling my soul, just trying to push the envelope to make money. So, kind of kicking back into the creator realm, and trying to work the crowdfunding, the Kickstarter, which we have a Kickstarter for The Family Man, which we can talk about in a little bit. But I don't know, and we have had a lot of repeat customers for buying Night of the Chihuahuas, but we've also there's some stores that don't want to purchase again. They'll even say we sold out, when I talk to them, but it's just they don't want to order, and I don't know. I mean, there is a ton of indie creators, and there's a ton of awesome content, and it's like, how do we all survive?
Right.
Yeah.
And with what Diamond dissipated a couple months ago.
Yep.
I mean, it's a world that we have, as you said, there's more comic book creators now than I think we've ever had. And I think COVID really helped kick that new wave off too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I have a lot of books, and I'm a slow reader, but there are some phenomenal people out there, and I don't know. It's fun. I mean, some of them are kind of ho-hum, like just working through it, and some of them are like page turners. You just pick it up, you can't put it down.
Right. There has to be. I mean, Image was essentially the indie comic book creator in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
What do we really have now that we can really help people out that do independent comic creators without being the next Image necessarily? But is that kind of your goal with Porkchop Express, is just to kind of draw in other creators then?
I would like to create things that I enjoy and turn a profit. Their studios like Boom and Source Point and Dynamite. And is Dynamite still around?
I think so. I think they still do the Evil Dead. Or
Okay. Yeah, there's so many, and I know one or two I think recently kind of folded, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of creative houses out there, and it seems like a lot of them are IDW. They're I would say they're indie-ish, but they're propped up on franchises,
Mhm.
Transformers, Turtles, um, and I can't think of all the other ones. I mean, what was Boom? Did Boom do Something is Killing the Children? The,
Ah,
the great series.
maybe
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
But then
Hmm.
I have so many stories, and the I was talking to a business advisor about marketing for comic books, and he's like, if you stick in if you want to do horror comedy, you stay there and you build your audience.
Hmm.
I'm like, but I don't want to stick in horror comedy. So I don't that might not be a smart business decision, but just because I write something doesn't mean I have to make it or I have to, sell a million copies. I have a story that I'm working on right now about a young Hawaiian girl who finds Thor's hammer, and she's worthy. She can lift it, and
Hmm.
all the craziness that comes with that. It's not a horror comedy. Um, I hope that people will gravitate toward unique, good stories. I think they're good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe other people won't.
Well, I mean, if you look at Marvel and DC, I mean, Marvel did like essentially the Universal monster. They had the Frankenstein, they had Dracula, and they incorporated it. It was kind of like the Strange Tales, almost sidestep of Marvel, and they just didn't stick in superhero lane either. I mean, they had war stories as well, in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of things are kind of stale. I said that a couple of times recently.
Hmm.
And I'm learning new things. I've been reading The Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, have you read it?
I have not, but I'm also truth, I'm not the biggest DC fan, so I don't really collect DC. I do more
Yeah.
Marvel than anything else.
But I was really surprised because the person who suggested that I read it was like, pay attention because it's not about Batman.
Hmm.
And I said that like in a live stream the other night, and everyone went really quiet. And I was like, like, am I interpreting it wrong? Because what I get out of it is it's about this man trying to make a comeback in his life, and more so of, yes, he's Batman, but he's also like, and I can relate. I'm 48 years old. my my midlife crisis is starting a comic book company. But when I'm reading it from this perspective of like he's this old man trying to like force himself into like coming out of the grave almost. It's not just a Batman story. It's a story for a lot of men in the middle of their lives
Hmm.
that are struggling. And I had a deeper appreciation for a superhero story than if it was just Batman fighting Joker.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And I think that's true. I think a lot of good comics is stemmed from personal relationships and difficulties that people are dealing with. Yeah, it may be Captain America. Yeah, it may be Superman. They're still dealing with stuff that we can relate to, and that's
yeah,
what makes them entertaining to read. Because you can go, "Oh man, I really feel for Bruce Wayne in this page, especially this page, because he's telling that story. Yeah, he's Batman, but he's struggling."
and yeah. I mean, and maybe I don't read enough of all the comics, but that's why I like the kind of the niche, indie, unique stories. Even one, it has a very political tone.
Hmm.
I only read one issue and I couldn't put it down. I'm almost afraid to say because I don't want to like draw negative attention. But the guy was like, it's actually like, cause they lobotomize somebody very powerful.
Hmm.
And he's like, it's not about that person. It's about all powerful people because the next episodes will be like that. But I just thought like, wow, this is wild. Like, this has a lot to say. It's paced really well. It's drawn really well. Um,
Hmm.
and I would like to make stuff that people gravitate towards and enjoy. And that's where I'd like pork chop to go. My
Hmm.
wife, on the other hand, wants pork chop to rake in the dough.
Right.
So, but I mean,
That'd be a good
I think
sidestep of it.
I think
Side
it's
process.
fair. I mean, every business should make money. So,
Hmm. Yeah, but I think you kind of nailed the nail on the head. Is that I personally feel this is why I really love indie comics is because the story, the art, it's more open and you're able to tell different stories than the standard. You have someone that tells Batman's story incorrectly, people chew them up and spit them out. It's like that's not our Batman, right? But
yeah,
with indie, you're able to have those more exploring stories and deeper connections to it too, and especially with limited runs, or even sometimes people have maybe 60 at most planned out for their entire series. I
yeah,
think it has a better way to tell a story, and you can have then different artists that want to convey their message across in a completely different way that you've never seen before.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, just how do you get the word out? With these stories,
Hmm.
when we go places, people like, what? We've never heard of you. Like, I try, like, but I mean, there's like I think it's Tony Fleeks puts out Stray Dogs and um, Feral. And that guy, I mean, he did like a tour. He went on like drove around all these comic shops and he's got distribution. And it's like people love that stuff. They get their hands
Right.
on it. But it's like, how do we get the word out? And I thought there was a secret sauce, and after talking to so many people, it seems like everybody's just trying their best to like get their stuff out.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, from I would say industry vets that have been around for 20 plus years, they're just hustling like everybody's grinding, trying to make it happen.
Right. Yeah, and I can definitely see that if you talk about the tour and the grind is, with me making independent horror movies and part of horror dads and stuff like that. It's like people are like, okay, well, have you seen so and so's movie? There's like, let's say 5 to 7 new independent horror movies a week that come out. I'm like, I don't have time to watch all that stuff. I would really, really love to,
Yeah,
and having people onto my show is my excuse to watch an extra movie a week,
there
or
you go.
read
There you
a
go.
separate project a week, just to get to know their work a little bit better. And it's just like there's so many people in the horror world that make movies now. It's just like, how do you have time to watch it all? I'm like, I don't. I
Yeah,
watch 3 or 4 movies a week for my other podcast, and
yeah.
then I do these other shows too. And just like it's almost like I need someone to watch them for me and then write notes, but we're not
I,
even close to that big.
yeah. Well, it's fun because it becomes like work. Like I can read comic books and say that I'm studying. I'm studying.
Hmm.
But
Oh yeah.
hey, I got a random factoid from you. Do you know the movie May?
Yes,
I went to school with Lucky McKee in high school.
we did an entire Lucky McKee episode.
Was he on it?
No, I wish he was on it.
He's actually in El Paso from what I know, but I helped with his first movie called All Cheerleaders Must Die.
Hmm.
Do you know that?
Yes.
It's just a funny thing because you're talking about horror movies, and a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people know May.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when it came out. I watched it when it came out. I said we just watched it. We did a couple other Lucky McKee. We actually have another Lucky McKee episode with because we're doing the Woods that he did with Bruce Campbell.
Hmm.
Just because, but like I said, this is my notebook of movie reviews that
Nice,
I
nice.
take all my notes for because it's sometimes these movies are a little crazy,
Yeah.
but it's just it's fun work. And like I said, it's an excuse, as you said, you get to read comics for your work. I get to watch movies for my work.
Yeah.
Oh man, but you guys are talking about Run to Chihuahuas from Hell, right? And I don't think we know if you said how many before. How many runs did you guys have planned for Chihuahua, not Chihuahuas altogether? Without spoiling,
Um,
or without giving too much
it
away.
was written in three movies.
Okay.
So there's 5 books per movie, so it'll be 15 books total when it's all said and done. And David, I don't think he has the premise for the third movie, but he hasn't. Um, I don't think committed anything to paper yet.
Hmm.
So, but issue 2 is where series 2 is written, and it actually takes on a little bit of a different tone than the first series, so it gets a little more serious. Um, there's a group of commandos named the Dead Man's Hand that
Okay.
are dispatched to clean up after all the Chihuahua chaos.
Hmm.
And then there's more Chihuahua chaos.
As there should be.
Yes, always.
More Chihuahuas all the time.
Yes. It's not their fault.
Exactly. No, but I mean that's great that you guys are seeing that. I'm sure as you guys continue to grow, people are like, all right, what's the fourth series, right?
Yeah. Well, David wanted to make the Chihuahua verse.
Hmm.
But once again, I think it's a matter of revenue coming in, because it's all fun and good to put your effort into something, but eventually you get burnt out. If we were able to pay everyone for their time, pay him, he's getting paid for the Chihuahuas 2, which he didn't take any pay for the first one. And it's not a lot of pay for the second one, but he's getting paid. But if it
Hmm.
was, worth his time to like actually sit and write, um, I think everybody would be a bit happier. And because he said, just like a zombie outbreak, would take place around the world, the Chihuahuas would quickly get infected around the world. So there'd be stories from all over the world of these Chihuahuas, and
Yeah.
um, that's his thing. So
I like it. If only the Queen Elizabeth had Chihuahuas, then you could have written the British for maybe
yes,
mutates the corgis in the
I
UK.
know. You know what? I actually my youngest son loves corgis, and I want to commission someone to do a corgi with wings, like
Oh.
flying above evil Chihuahuas. And
Uh-huh.
call them corgis of the light.
See, there you go. There's a spinoff right there.
Yep, yep.
That's
Actually, I
awesome.
wrote something where these Chihuahuas ate peyote, and they saw a flying corgi. But David rejected my idea.
Oh, that's a shame.
So I mean, I'm the publisher, but
Yeah, I know you guys did the movie. I know that eventually you want to get back to making the series as a movie even again, right? I think that's just David's original idea.
it actually is a movie already.
Right.
Yeah, so it's yeah. I mean, hoping there's if you can make a movie about a shark tornado, like you could probably make a movie about killer chihuahuas. And
Hmm.
I think it's all about who you know. I mean, I know some people in Hollywood, but I haven't really gotten any positive feedback from sharing my stuff. And one of them, he's like, I don't really know, who to put you in with. Um, but he's like, this is like the land of opportunity. You never know. He's like,
Right.
if the opportunity comes up, I'll spit your stuff for you. But a couple other people were like, nope.
I mean, I only make really low budget micro horror movies. So if I was able to help you out with that, I would
Yeah.
easily do that for you guys.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to do someone else's work. It'd be really interesting because we only do our own stuff right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
So,
I have a friend actually, that he's made a bunch of movies and actually had like a distribution deal and everything, and he would consistently make like a couple $100,000 for every movie he did.
oh
He did
wow.
probably 2 movies a year, um, and he got kind of bored of it, and he also didn't like how fake people were. He's like, it's like a
Mm,
cult following me around. They just always want things from me, and he's like, they're not really my friends. Um, but he laughed about it. He's like, this would be actually pretty easy to make. I'm like,
yeah,
so, but he's seen it and he likes it. But once again,
nice.
I don't want to go begging people, for
Right.
it's like if you like it, like let's make it, hook it up. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Family Man that you're working on the Kickstarter right now. I
Yeah.
had the chance to read it. Obviously, we talked on distance learning, and we talk about there, but you talk about it being essentially 48 pages of no words, and how did you come up with the idea to have it just pretty much just be all visual storytelling?
just the someone commented about how uh, dialogue heavy Night of the Chihuahuas was,
Hmm.
and you really couldn't see the panels very much. And I, I I was introduced to the work of Mobius, who's a French artist, and the it just there's so much that can be done without words. And there was a picture that I sent on Distance Nerding
Yeah.
of a dog with a mask on, and the
Hmm.
artist is Jessica Court. She's out of Oregon. But I kind of put those pieces together and had the idea formulating in my head about this family that was kind of in hiding. And I sat down and wrote it all at once. I mean, it doesn't have any words, so I don't know if that counts, but it took
I
me a
mean,
few hours.
you still have to have like what the framing is, what happens in the scene, and everything.
Yeah, yep. It took me a few hours, and I wrote out this idea and um, talked to a couple of people about it. And Max Flowers, who is an amazing artist
Hmm.
at Art of MF, um, Max said they'd work on it, and it's yeah, it's been a really cool journey. I learned a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, I'm starting to space out trying
It's all right.
to. No, it's been a really cool journey because Max is very talented in
Hmm.
many ways, and I've learned so much, and it's been like a real blessing because I'm so proud of this book to like look at it, hold it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, I said I think the silence of it all really lets the artwork speak too, just because you have to see it to fully understand it.
yeah,
And after reading it and talking about this, I'm like, this is something that like the Family Man, we could probably make a short film on
yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
easily. Easily, that's probably something we'd be able to do for you.
Yeah, that I don't actually, I was in film production for a while, and I really that would be easy. But to me, it feels like it's a 48-page opening.
Hmm.
It feels like the opening. Most openings to movies are what 3 pages, 5 pages long, which equals about 3 to 5 minutes.
Right.
This is the whole thing is a hook. Like there's two twists, but the ending hook, yeah. But then it's like there I have an idea of where I'd like to take the story. Max has stated they have an idea as well, and we haven't really decided on anything. We're just going to see how it goes, but it would be
Hmm.
fun to make it into something. But I imagine a lot of people would be like, okay, and so
No, I think you would go if you get another filmmaker and you did two 45-minute independent horror films, you just make it another Grindhouse.
yeah, you could do Night of the Chihuahuas and
Hmm.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, like I
I
said,
wonder
I
how much
think
money I would need to do that.
the Family Man, realistically, I mean, your biggest stuff, and I won't spoil anything, is going to be the special effects. Is going to be your biggest budget
Yeah,
on this. It's you have it framed out what you want it to look like, and essentially you would almost 300 it, right? Essentially, it's just lifted from the comic book into the media.
yeah,
And I said, I know a lot of special effects and cosplayers that probably could do that stuff.
yeah. Find a location, get some actors.
Hmm.
And there's not a lot of acting that goes on into it. I mean, I think the father daughter component is probably the most important.
Right.
Um, but yeah,
I think it'd be pretty powerful too to have it as silence
yeah.
as you're going through it too, just like the comic is.
You've spurred the next thing in motion, Grave. I tell my wife like, hey, can we take out a refinance the house?
No, I mean, let's face it, we've made movies for a couple $100. So
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's just I've done, like I said, done indie filmmaking, and it's a challenge, man. It's.
it is, yes.
Yeah. I'll come out to you and we'll get it done.
Exactly.
You and me
Well,
could be in the biker gang.
there you go. Well, you're not that far from some of our horror dads out in Reno, so
Yeah.
I think
From
you
from
met them.
where?
Horror dads. If
Okay.
Yeah, you should know them. I think you met them. You had to have met them some at some con that I
Yeah.
know Phil and James were at too. So
Okay.
yeah, so there's three of them right out there, Reno areas for you. So they got the
Sounds
equipment. We
good.
can make it
Let's do
happen.
it.
So after this, you're working on series 2 of Nine Chihuahuas. You're working on Family Man. Are you going to then come back to Killer Hair? I know you did issue 0 essentially. Are you going to take that as your next project, or what's kind of up next for you?
So I reading Killer Hair, it didn't feel solid to me, and I hired a writing coach out of LA. Her name is Kate Galke, Gaulke. If you want to look her up, anybody that's watching, promoting for Kate, and she taught me a lot, took me through things, did a few rewrites, and I have probably one more revision that I want to do, but I had turned it into her for
Mm-hmm.
feedback. Um, I would like it to be solid, and she actually said that I have a very keen intuition for screenwriting. Like I'm very good without being taught.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, screenwriting is kind of simple. It's like formulaic, right?
Yeah, right.
So, but she liked it a lot. And did you ever read it?
Yeah, I read issue 0. Yes.
No, did you read the screenplay?
No, I did not.
Would you like to?
I would.
Oh,
That one,
I
Killer
would.
Hair would be hard to make with a low budget.
Oh no, it totally, yeah. But I like feedback, and
Mm-hmm.
um, so Sophia Cox was the artist that did issue 0, and she's still on board. But I kind of shelved it because it's the other projects that we have going on. Drip, which is a horror,
Mm-hmm.
Of Thunder, which is the Hawaiian one. Um, just finished Family Man, Night of the Chihuahuas, Series 2, Issue 1, and then Killer Hair. It's like it's a lot to take on, and in a bit of a financial decision, since some of the other artists are working for um, markedly less.
Mm.
Since we haven't turned a lot of revenue, I don't want to feel bad that we can't pay artists yet. But yeah, Sophia is still on board. We're just waiting for the finances to get right, and hopefully having more projects will generate more income.
Yeah, like I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed everything you guys have put out. I really have. You were among the first independent comic creators that I have purchased anything from and gotten stuff from too, just because I really appreciate what you guys are able to do. So my wife goes, if she only saw the stack of comic books I now have over here in the corner up here,
Yeah,
that she would go, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, "Oh, just supporting indie, right?"
yeah,
But no, it's great, and I continue to see you guys grow because I think we met probably the first time 2 years ago on Distance Learning,
yeah.
and it's just been an amazing journey to see you guys go with you, David. Eric having done our logo here too, and it's great stuff. So yeah, tell us a little bit how much you have left on your Kickstarter to go because I have the Kickstarter in the description.
Um,
And want to make sure to
we,
anyone that's
we
watching in the
reached
future.
our goal in 12 hours,
Oh wow.
which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Our last Chihuahua goal we reached in 8 minutes. Um, that was really fun. But we're at $1,900 right now, and I think the thing that's challenging for independent is if you set a really high goal and you don't make it, you don't get anything.
Mm-hmm.
We set our goal at $1,000 and we reached it, which is great, and we've gone up progressively. But some people see it and they think like, oh, they reached their goal, they don't need it. But this helps pay for what we did.
Right.
If in order to go forward, it helps to continue to get pledges and share, talk about it, those kind of things that helps us to as a company go forward. Because I mean, I could set the goal at $2,000, and honestly, I'm a little afraid. I don't know if people are going to back a new title with Night of the Chihuahuas. Maybe people would come back, return.
Mm-hmm.
I could set the goal a little bit higher, but I really don't know. I mean, we've been successful in every campaign so far, and um, some of those people that are their goal is like $25,000 or $40,000, and they're at $200,000. Like, how do you do that?
I asked the same question. I had the independent horror guy. He's like, "Yeah, I just needed $80,000 to make our movie." He's like, "I got 2,000 submissions for one role." I go, "Wow, that's my second movie." I'm like, "What's your secret sauce?"
Yeah, yeah. Well, you get a pretty girl on board, and you're good to go.
Seemingly, yeah. Maybe that's what. Maybe we didn't do that for a new movie that we're currently funding. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I did a kind of a sexy cover for Night of the Chihuahuas issue 5 in the first series,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of did fan service. It was the only one that we did like that. Um, and like a couple people made negative comments about it. A lot of people liked it. Um, but my son comes in and he's like, "Dad, my friends were looking on Instagram or no, on the internet, and they found a picture of that cover and they asked if it was my mom." I was like, I don't know what to say. Like, sorry, buddy. Like, it's not your mom.
Oh man. Well, Nate, it's been an absolute blast. I can't wait for more things to come for you. So before we go, give us what you have coming up and any other promotional stuff that you have coming up.
Um, this weekend coming up, we're going to be at an event called ASCAF,
Okay.
and that is Arizona Comic Arts Festival. And the weekend after that, we'll be at Verde Valley Comic Festival. And then we're just doing the Kickstarter. I'm not sure which will finish first, either Drip or a Thunder. But Night of the Chihuahuas should be on deck next for a Kickstarter. Honestly, I feel like we're going to slow it down a little bit because all these great opportunities have popped up, and it's a lot to do 4 books in production when we're really not a established publishing house yet. So that's as far as books and shows go. That's where we're going to be. We're going to be in El Paso Comic Con the beginning of April, and then in May we'll be at Boise. And in Boise or Gem State, and we'll see Phil there, I believe. So
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. I can't wait to see how that goes for you guys. I can't wait for your next issues to come out. Like I said, keep it up. We really appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Of course, anytime. Anytime next Kickstarter comes up, let us know. You'll be on Distance Story End here, guaranteed.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you, Nate, for coming on. We'll see you next time. Don't
right.
get lost in the void. Good night.
See ya.